right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this, what is today, Monday morning. And we're going to talk about locks now. Seth Posner is in the studio. And today, Seth has a very cool thing he's going to do. He's going to give away a $10 gift card to Publix. And pay attention, because the way you will win... Hit a button. Did that come through your headset? No. Okay.
No, it
Hold
did
on.
not.
Let me get Seth's picture on here. Oh, we got to turn the camera so we can see Seth.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Let me do
So the way you will win the $10 gift card is at the end of the conversation today, in about 22 minutes or so. We will ask a question based on what we are saying in today's interview with Seth. If you answer it correctly, if you're watching the video right now, it's all shaky. If you answer it correctly, then you will get a $10 Publix card, and we're going to learn about the history of locks today. So, so get your paper out and take notes. We'll try to do this in a fashion that'll help you to win this $10. So. And remember, at the end of the show, the number you'll need to call is 622-9622, but you are welcome to call at any time to ask questions other than, hey, what's the answer going to be? Can't ask
No,
that.
we're not going to say.
So, hi, Seth. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Did I say who you're with? AA
Yes.
Lock, Dock, and Security. Everybody knows that already by now. Okay.
And also accredited lock and safe. He's got a brand new company.
That's right.
That's right.
And you were telling me there's an actual safe museum in Ocala.
There is a safe museum.
Really?
It's quite impressive, actually. He's got a number of safes in there. The last time I was in there, I think he had in the neighborhood of about 200 safes.
Where is this? Where's the?
Right on Magnolia. Right on Magnolia, right across from Springer Brothers.
And do you pay to go in
Wow.
there? Is there a fee?
No, you just got to catch him when he's actually there, when the doors are open.
And what's the place called?
Well, it's the owner, Springer Brothers.
Oh, it's Finger Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Irving collects safes and collects scales.
Okay.
So at any given moment, you can walk in there and see a large array of scales or safes.
So we learned earlier that the very first of all, it's human beings that require us to have locks because people steal.
That's correct.
That's the shame of this whole thing. You wouldn't even have a job.
That's correct.
When Jesus comes back, I know you're Jewish, but when Jesus comes back, we're not going to need locks. That's what they say. That's what they tell us, right?
I think we'll always need a lock of some sort. I mean, personally, I don't like locking things, but yeah, we're always going to need a lock. So, I mean.
Well, anyway, so the first locks, according to what we read, were really rope. And it wasn't really to stop people from stealing. It was to see if somebody had tried to get in.
Correct.
Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
So they've just tied up things. But then the first working locks were actually made out of wood, right?
Yes.
Now, did you understand what they were saying is how they worked?
Yes. It what almost looks like a toothbrush. So it's got a bunch of bristles, or a toothbrush has bristles, but this just had pegs, but it would resemble that of a toothbrush.
Mm-hmm.
So they would insert this brush, if you will, into this hole, and all of the pegs that were on this brush were cut to specific heights.
Right.
Some would be
right.
short, some would be high, and whatever would line up all of the wood pins inside of this wooden lock.
Okay.
Then that's what would allow the lock to work.
And that was kind of the technology of the day, and we're going back to 6,000 years ago, ancient Egypt, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what it says here. So that, I mean, gosh, how do we know this? Does the wood survive 6,000 years?
I would actually like to physically see one of those locks.
That would be awesome.
It would be, because I'd like to see the type of wood that it was made out of, how it actually was preserved, and I think it'd be really neat. So
to fast forward to the future, because to get closer to our time, it's hard to relate to 6,000 years ago. So 1,000 years BC, locks finally started improving. The technologies and designs were introduced by the Greeks and the Romans, but the Greek locks were unsecure. Well, they just didn't get it, huh? The Italians got it better. The Romans, they were doing better over there. I'm an Italian locksmith.
Well, they had those big windows and door areas and stuff, didn't they? In Greece, I mean, there was like, how could you really lock up an area when it's all open?
I don't know. Well, anyway, so you were telling us that in the building that Harry's is in right now, downtown Ocala.
Yes.
It's an older building, and it still has some of the older locks.
Absolutely.
Now, those locks have a name.
Yes.
And what are they called?
Those are seagulls.
Seagulls, which I usually see at the ocean. This is spelled S-E, how do you spell it?
Segal.
Oh, that's Samuel Seagull.
Yes.
We talked about this before. Now, it says here he invented that in 1916, and it was the first jemmy-proof lock.
Correct.
Now, what is a jemmy-proof lock?
A jimmy-proof lock was one that you couldn't access the bolt works of the lock because it was internally mounted on the door and frame.
You could access it, like with a hairpin?
No, you still had the, in some applications, you still had the keyed cylinder on the outside of the door, but on today's traditional lock, you have a bolt that goes through the edge of the door into the frame.
Okay.
So this didn't go on the edge of the door into the frame. This was mounted on the inside of the door and then mounted on the inside of the frame.
Okay. The first padlock was 1924. So the lock that we consider state of the art has always been changing.
Yes.
I mean, right now there's stuff that we didn't even have in the 80s, right?
Correct.
Is it mostly electronic now?
They have just recently started putting out electronic locks.
Okay.
And those are actually fascinating because when you think of the size of a lock and what it's designed to do, I mean, a padlock and what it's designed to do, how they're able to get the electronics that small, which, in today's day and age, I guess, getting the electronics that small isn't difficult anymore, but
right.
being able to get all of that stuff into something so small and be able to keep it still moving.
So Harry Soref invented the first padlock, 1924, and okay, if somebody said to me, what is a padlock? The only thing I would say is it's a lock. I don't really know what makes it a padlock. What is the answer to that?
Well, the padlock is going to have the shackle, and then, in some cases it's going to be a shackleless padlock. But it's going to be, you're going to have the shackle that's going to go from the top side of the padlock that's going to go through something.
Now, is that the same thing as the Yale locks we were looking at before?
Well, Yale did make a padlock back in the early 1900s.
Okay. So Yale made the first pin tumbler lock. His full name was Linus Yale Sr., and it was in 1848. And I don't know this stuff for the listeners. We just looked this up so we could sound smart. but that was his name, Linus Yale Sr. In 1848, he invented the first pin tumbler lock.
Yes.
Now, what is that?
The pin tumbler lock is still used in modern locks today, where it's going to have actual moving pins, and they're usually manufactured out of a brass material.
Wow.
And but yeah, that's what we're using in today's conventional locks.
So they're not combination locks. The pin tumblers are not combination locks?
Correct. A pin tumbler is actually going to have internal moving parts that the key is actually causing things to move.
Oh, and then when you say shackleless locks, you have some of those. How do those work?
So the shackle is actually, instead of it being external to the padlock, it's actually internal. So typically you'll find them on trailers or something that it looks like a little hockey puck. So you put the key in, and the shackle actually pulls down, and then goes back up, and the stays are all internal to the lock.
Oh, that's interesting.
If you're listening and you are anxious to find out about the $10 gift card that Seth brought in for Publix, what we're doing is Seth is going to give it away. Now we're almost up to the break. In about 10 minutes, we'll ask a question based on what was said. And you're allowed to call in and ask to have something repeated, but you can't ask what the answer is. If you want to pick our brains, just like I pick a lot. So let's take a little break, and we'll be right back. This is fun. You gave us a fun challenge here. All right, so we'll take a little break. 622-9622. Here's a hint. We have already told you the answer to the question we'll be asking, and we'll repeat the information again before we actually ask the question. Okay?
Cool.
So we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny Monday, and there can be a shower or thunderstorm around in the afternoon. The high 85 near the coast, 91 inland. Partly cloudy Monday night with a chance of a shower, low 69 to 73. Tuesday, times of clouds and sun with a shower and heavy thunderstorm or two, especially during the afternoon hours over the interior. High 83 to 87. For Wednesday, clouds and sun with a thunderstorm around in the afternoon, high 83 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Are
you in need of custom screen printing, embroidery, or promotional items? Then look no further and come visit the brand new Legacy Team Sales. LTS is conveniently located off 17th Street next to Armstrong Homes in beautiful Ocala. We offer the best prices and highest quality products for your company, team, school, or nonprofit. Whether looking for screen printed shirts, embroidered polos, or travel team uniforms, you'll be sure to find it at Legacy Team Sales. Come visit our new 27,000 square foot facility. Our friendly and knowledgeable sales staff will assist you in every part of your custom purchase. LTS carries the hottest brands in the industry like Under Armour, Russell, Mizuno, Asics, Badger Sports, Gildan, Pacific, Ogio, and many more. At LTS, screen printing embroidery is done in-house and we guarantee customer satisfaction. Stop by, give us a call, or check us out on the web at shoplts.com. Remember the name, LTS.
FlySanford.com, Orlando Sanford International Airport. We are SFB. Simpler, faster, better.
Visiting friends and family? Or just looking for some fun? Book your vacation now to one of over 70 nonstop destinations, including Amsterdam, Brussels, Aguadilla, San Juan, New Orleans, and Mexico City.
For enjoyable travel, come to Orlando Sanford International Airport. We are SFB. Simpler, faster, better. Before you fly, FlySanford.com.
Cookies, 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 cookies. We go cookie eating cookies.
When you want something special and fun for any occasion, get cookies. King Cookie in the Paddock Mall in Ocala will make a delicious, fun-filled delight just for you. So next time you're in the mall, stop by King Cookie or call 352-237-2557. KingCookieOcala.com. Customized cookies, cakes, and more. King Cookie.
Eating cookies. We're so happy eating cookies. Cookies!
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Just a 1 degree increase in body temperature can make it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. To make yourself twice as happy today or tomorrow or the next day, it's very simple. Do 5 good deeds all in one single day. Get on LinkedIn. It turns out 89% of companies have used it to find new hires. And post a professional-looking photo.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Yeah, don't miss this stuff. 18 minutes after 11 o'clock, Seth Posner is here from AA Lock, Dock, and Security. We're learning more about locks than we've ever learned before. And there's a prize at the end of today's show. It's a $10 gift card for Publix. And one of my favorite places to shop. Is that your place?
It is.
Your go-to place for groceries?
Yes, absolutely.
So I was telling you before we went on the air earlier that when I lived in California, I didn't have much money, and I got an apartment in Hollywood, which was not a good neighborhood, by the way. And I'm not talking about, because I think there was a rich area. I was behind the Capitol Records building. Anybody who knows where that is, it's not a good neighborhood. And there were literally 6 locks on the door. And the landlord told me, don't lock every lock. When you go out, lock the first one, the 5th one, the 3rd one, or the 2nd one and the 6th one, and And I said, why? And he said, because if somebody's going to pick your locks, they're not going to know if they're unlocking it or locking it, and it'll be harder for them to break in. And I lived in New York. I never had anybody tell me that. Have you ever heard of that?
That's actually a new one for me.
And when you showed me what the locks look like over at Harry's building, whatever that building is called, it's got a name, you said, right?
It does.
Do you remember what it's called, that building?
I don't recall.
But those were I remember those. I feel like that's what they looked like, although I can't remember them really clearly. It was 1977, so. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you had a mixture of a couple of those and deadbolts and just a little mixture of things.
Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
So deadbolts, is there a certain length to a deadbolt, or can you get different lengths that go into the door jamb?
That's actually a very good question. So standard bolt that from a deadbolt is 1 inch throw. So it goes into the frame a full 1 inches. Mm-hmm. Now mobile homes, RVs, etc., those doors, those frames aren't built to accommodate a 1 inch throw. So those are actually at a 1/2 inch throw. Oh. So anything that's of quality for a residential application, commercial application, is going to be a full 1 inch throw.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Now I can remember in the old WTMC building, if I had forgot my key or something, I could actually take a screwdriver and that big piece of metal that you call is that the bolt or is that the throw? What's the throw? The hole?
The bolt.
The bolt. Okay, so I could actually move it little at a time until I could finally open the door. That seems like a not very secure lock.
It's actually not the lock. It's actually the installation is where the problem is. What happens is on probably more than half of the houses that are being built, when the doors get installed, the hole on the frame side is already pre-drilled from the factory, from the millworks, and they only drill it about ½ an inch. So you figure you have, if it's a properly installed door, you're going to have about a 3/16 to a 1/4 inch gap between the door and the frame. And then you're going to have a ½ inch hole already pre-drilled into the frame. Well, let's face it, at that point, we're only 3/4 of an inch. So we still have, 1/4 inch that's still stuck inside the lock body itself, which gives you that opportunity to take a knife or whatever and pull it back. On a properly installed deadbolt, that hole is actually drilled a full 1.125 inches deep, so that bolt can completely throw and lock in place.
Okay, and that's why I could open it, because it wasn't
Correct.
complete. Okay, I see. All right, so we're talking about the history of locks, and we already mentioned that the Yale lock, which is probably the master lock, was not named after a guy named Master, right? The master was it Siegel? Samuel Siegel, he invented the master lock?
No, that was Harry Soref.
Or Harry Soref invented the first master lock.
Correct.
Okay. So he didn't name his lock after himself.
No.
But Linus Yale Sr. did.
Correct.
Okay, so the Yale lock is actually named after a man.
Yes.
Okay.
Linus,
yeah.
I like that name.
Okay. But it goes back. Any of these other names show up on locks? You said the Sergeant lock is a lock?
Yes.
And he invented the first combination lock, the kind I used on my bicycle.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you sell bicycle locks?
I don't have any in stock, but absolutely.
Or motorcycle locks?
Absolutely.
How do you protect the motorcycle from being stolen?
Most of those are going in the disc brake. It's a kind of looks like a lock that you would put on the trailer tongue. So that goes around the disc brake, goes into one of the holes of the disc.
You also have a sticker with a Smith & Wesson picture on it.
Do you know, I had to put a new sticker on my windshield for the sun pass because it wasn't working. Is this going to be the technology of locks in the future? Will you just, you pass? Like, could I just wear something that the door says, "Oh, you're Larry. You can come in"?
That's actually a great question, because I'm working on a property in Orlando that hopefully will get signed off on here soon. But that was one of the things that they wanted to be able to do. And then there's a bank here locally that has asked the same question. They don't want to have to present anything to the door. They actually just want to walk within range and have the door automatically unlock.
Oh my,
we are getting so lazy, aren't we?
Lazy is good for business.
Yeah. And the safes that you said there was a safe you can walk into at the Safe Museum. Right? Or did I misunderstand you?
Actually, he had a big Spanish-made safe from the 1800s. It was a big vault. That one you could walk into. I think he sold that one.
Do you know what I found interesting, too, Robin, before we came on the air? Seth was telling me that a brass lock today is not the high quality that a brass lock might have been how many years ago?
Oh, when brass locks first came out in the early 1900s.
Because they were heavier. The brass was a better... Isn't brass an alloy? Isn't it a mixture of metals?
That's a science question for me.
Okay. But they must be doing
Maybe
something...
It's not 100% brass now.
No.
I thought brass was an alloy. Am I wrong about that?
I think so. But you
Am I saying the right word, alloy?
Just like, yeah, just like gold rings. If you get a 14 karat gold ring or a 28 karat is going to be really super soft, and it's really not a good
you couldn't
idea.
make a lock out of gold.
I'm sure there have been people that have tried.
But it's so pliable. You could twist it.
Yeah, depending on the
Right?
carat. So
I
maybe
mean-
brass is the same way.
I don't know, brass. So, but explain what you said. That because we've outsourced, we're getting locks made in China. Not to pick on Chinese people, but
Oh, absolutely. There's not a lot of locks that are manufactured here in the U.S. anymore. Everything is outsourced from other countries.
and you can literally see the difference in
Absolutely.
quality.
Absolutely.
Really. So what would be let's say I just wanted a padlock for my bicycle. What would be a brand that you would suggest?
Well, believe it or not, the Master Padlock brand has gone downhill so drastically that actually one of my employees, just not still learning on locks and everything, she's not a field technician or anything, so she's still learning on locks. And she figured it out firsthand that there's a drastic quality difference from 10 years ago to today.
Really? Because of the quality of the metal itself?
Yes.
Wow.
Gosh.
Well, we got a few more minutes left. Let's take some questions. I'm sorry, the phone is ringing and I wasn't looking. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with Seth.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, good morning. Brass is an alloy of copper and zinc.
So what would make it weaker now than it used to be? More zinc?
Zinc is a softer metal than copper, and
Correct.
So the proportion of zinc to copper, and
Okay.
the method in which it's annealed and such.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so to cut costs or cut corners, they have compromised the quality of the metal, sounds like.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, wow. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate the
Okay, bye.
appreciate
knowledge. That will not be a question that'll win you $10, by the way.
No.
The question that will win you $10 is about one of the inventors that we've named. I'll just tell you that, okay? That's going to be the question.
Okay.
One of the inventors we didn't name was Robert Baronin, 1778. He invented the double-acting tumbler lock. Now, how is that different than a tumbler lock that we know today?
The double-acting tumbler is actually going to have the 2 pins inside of it, where the traditional tumbler lock that was created only had 1 moving pin inside of it. So the double-acting actually had 2 pins, so both of the pins had to go up and meet their certain location, which we call the shear line.
Joseph Bramah in 1784 invented the Bramah lock, unpickable for 67 years.
Oh.
And that happened to be the same time YouTube came out, by the way. No, I'm teasing about that. Did I ever tell you this? My son picked the lock at the old studios. The door locked to the copy room. We used to have the copy machine in a separate room. And the door locked. And nobody had a key.
No.
So he went on YouTube how to pick a lock. And he picked it. It took him a while, but he was able to do it. With a paperclip. Paperclip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting.
Most of the locks that they had there at the Cascades weren't of quality anyways.
Oh, really? All right, are you ready? We have a question for you that'll win you a $10 gift card to Publix.
Yes.
This is from Seth. Tell us the first name of Yale. Yale invented the first pin tumbler lock. We told you his first name earlier. If you remember his first name, then you will win the $10 gift card to Publix. 622-9622 is the phone number to call. I'll start dropping hints if you don't remember. But it was 1848. He was a senior, so there must have been a junior somewhere along the way, right?
Yeah.
Are you a junior?
No.
No. Okay.
And the junior took senior's invention and improved upon it.
Did it really? Mm-hmm. So this is the Yale lock. We're looking for the first name of the guy who invented the first pin tumbler lock. His name was Yale, which is common. You see Yale locks all over the place,
yes.
Right? So let's take a caller. Good morning. What do you think his first name was?
Well, he was in one of the Peanuts characters, I think. Linus?
Linus is right.
That's it.
Yes, very good. That's how I remembered it. And what's your first name?
Mike McCoy.
Mike, you've got a $10 gift card to Publix.
Thank God I can eat this week.
And he can pick it up here or at Seth's place?
Where do you want him to pick up? Here?
They can come here.
You pick it up here.
At the radio station?
Yep, it's already here. Robin is putting your name on it.
Cool.
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
The kids will appreciate the food.
I bet they will. Yeah.
Hey, bye-bye.
Thank you. That was fun. And for everybody else, we apologize. You'll have to listen next week. Maybe Seth will do it again.
A few weeks from now.
Oh, 2 weeks. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The third Tuesday of the month. Seth is usually here, but today's a special day for Seth.
Yes.
That's right.
He's here today. He won't be here tomorrow.
By the way, there's very few refrigerators I've seen with locks on them, by the way. I was thinking about the food. Thank you, Seth. That was fun.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. The Supreme Court ducking for now a challenge by employers to an Obamacare mandate to provide women workers insurance to cover birth control.
Essentially, the Supreme Court putting any decision on hold, rather giving both parties more time to come to some sort of an accommodation. The court, in this case, expressing no view.
Fox Radio's Jared Halpern. ISIS losing ground. That's the word.